What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the gosh dang Market Watch, Konami. It is 91 degrees outside in Texas in February, but what's even hotter is the tech because of Tenpai Heatwave. But Senpai here has seen this go a bit crazier in the past. Now, it does have 3 total versions, thanks to Speed Duel Tournament Pack 5 and Speed Duel Decks, and then it's a Star Strike Blast only card. I feel like this has a huge overhyped history in general, but when you read the card, you can't help but lose it. This card can only be activated at the start of your main phase 1 until your next draw phase. Neither player can normal summon or special summon effect monsters. It can be an auto win button, and people tend to overpog at cards like this. But hey, let me know, do you think it's really gonna do it this time, or are you just enjoying the sales? I saw people say, wow, I had these over in my bulk and I'm making a lot of money off of these. Now, Battles of Legend pre-sales went live, and I gotta give a shout out to a sponsor, Gamer's Choice, because there are short prints in here. The Silver Alternate Utopia Astral. Who would have thought that would be very hard to get? And with how short it is, they actually had to do some refunds. And one user got this notice, oh, this is refunded, via his email, but then the follow-up was really nice. It says, hello, thanks for placing your pre-order with us. When we were opening our cases, we noticed that number 39 Utopia Alternate Art was much shorter than expected. As a result, we are short of these for our orders. We deeply apologize for this and would like to provide a solution. We have refunded you the card and will also be providing a $25 store credit to be used towards any purchases in the future. This is by far above and beyond. The only other store I've seen go this far is Tier Zero, another sponsor. This is why I work with these people, and it's amazing to see. If you actually look at the price of this card, lowest right now, while it has gone up, that credit is more than it's worth, and typically a seller just goes, refund, too bad, sorry, you gotta go get it elsewhere. I'm sure they're giving out as many quantities as they can and then doing this as the alternate fill order, and you gotta hand it to Gamer's Choice. That's more than I personally would have done myself, and they understand like how frustrating that can be, so good job to them. Always support using code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly over there, but I love to see it. Besides that, we do see number 90 trying to be worth about the MSRP of the product. There is YUBEL in here, which people are very thirsty for the cards, especially with that new fusion being so busted. And the ultra rares up there in price right now. This is a very new product though. We'll see how quantities go, and people actually seem to be liking this product overall, but there are very few top cards and the word short going around there as well. It's gonna leave some kind of taste. I do really like the Stratos being secret rare finally too, and who can resist another nice Gamma Seal, right? I do think the product is hitting a bit above my expectations, but the YCS definitely had some things happening with it. We have Lullaby of Obedience. We'd already talked about this card as it was starting to creep up and then skyrocketed, and here it goes even further as it was showcased and was putting in work. Only 2 copies of this card, and extremely effective within mirror matches of a Tier 0 format, dare say we. Summon Limit. It's got a very nice quarter century secret rare in the rarity collection, and that's going up as people are looking for any way to fight back against Tier 0 strategies. It's not topping the most in the world, but it's still got an impact and people are looking at it. It does have 2 other versions that are still very nice and affordable. You have the Prismatic Ultimate Rare as well as Collector Rare, and those are under what the Ultra, a whole playset of these go for what an Ultra used to go. I remember when the Ultra was $6 to $8 and these are $2 a piece. So pretty nice versions for what they are. And then there's also the extra secret, right? Like you could be looking at that as well. 3 nice versions under the quarter century secret rare if you missed that boat, but you still want a nicer one than base version. And it should have a secret rare in here too, right? Yeah, under $1, so you could get 3 secret rares for $1. The rarity collection is so blessed when it comes down to it. Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils continues to go down here, and I've heard a lot of interesting ban list fears on, well, this will be how they hit the deck. They still gotta hit Megatons with reprints if they're keeping the Megatons around, which I assume they would. They're gonna try to pump some life into that somehow, even failing 3 years in a row, I would think. Like, but hey, product cycles do die and change. But when it comes down to it, even the quarter century secret rare is flopping pretty hard, which is eye-popping. So maybe there is some truth besides, it was too expensive to pick up was the initial reason it started falling, and then, I'll just go with other variants. And there are choices, but this is kind of overcorrection in my opinion versus ban list fears. Like, you can get these around $81 versus the $120, and people really grabbing them up they used to be. That's a huge fall, but awesome if you're looking for it. Do pay attention around banless season to see how people end up actually reacting to this, though, depending on the outcome. OTS 24. It's so hard. Like, this is 3 times lived the most OTS sets. We got Chaos Angel, Harpy's Feather Duster, and the Rock Vanquisher very much in the rear here. But Chaos Angel's doing a little something. Long term, I think it'll be Harpy Feather Duster on top of this set. But it is expensive for a debut of a card compared to a lot of them, and people seem to like it. Plenty of good stuff in here, too. Forstrix is sneaking on, and here we've got a Super King Tiger Wangu. I really do like this OTS pack. I know it's got mixed reactions. Overall, I think it's pretty nice and did something for everyone. Samsara D Lotus, that D in the middle, like Monkey D Luffy, is always going to be trouble. This is a pretty good YUBEL card that people were mega sleeping on it and then skyrocketing up here with the new YUBEL support. Be aware, these are 3 to quickly $5 for a new set super rare. So there might be some money you had you didn't know you had, or a piece of support you were waiting to get that just got way more expensive. Unchained is getting even more traction thanks to YUBEL alongside Labyrinth, so 2 decks eating up an engine, right? We have Unchained Soul Lord of Yama being really, really up there in price, around $25 to $26, and was even selling for quite ridiculous prices. But also to note, Escape of the Unchained only has a couple of printings, I believe 2, and both are around $1. So here's another card you might have that you didn't know was worth that cash, and there's not many of them on the market at all. It might actually become worth a little bit more. Okay, I want to talk about this because results versus what happened. Branded got a lot of hype. I felt like that was overhype, and it continues to get more expensive even through this weekend. Not a lot of tops, yet the text for it continued to get bought out, more expensive, and yeah, there's one listing here before it's pretty much gone in a 0% feedback seller on Bayrox, which I feel like for these decks, like, everything's becoming too expensive for rogue decks. That's it. Like, people are looking for any other taste of an option outside of fire, and they're overspending, and it's not based on results. Like, Voiceless Voice, its results weren't all that good, and it failed to really perform in feature matches. It did not have a good time, but it's still really up there in price, and I think it's kind of that overreaction spending of, well, this won't get hit on a ban list, and also just wanting a different taste of something. Kashtira's in that boat too. Now, this could be up for reprints, considering I believe it's Rarity Collection 2 is going for a piece, and would they only stop at 1 piece, or would they go for more pieces of the deck, right? But do be aware, they are, I believe it's the Pressured Planet that should be reprinted in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. So when it comes down to it, if they're doing one, maybe they'll go around for some more, or they do a little standalone. I feel like it would be multiple pieces of this lore line, but that also dips into Visas, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, be aware, Fenrir's, they're all creeping up even further, and a lot of these cards are worth a good amount of money, and it is topping regionals. Now, if there's any market man who tells you they absolutely know everything that's going to happen with a card, they're not right, including myself. I certainly thought the Dark Magician Adidas New Age collectible would have been stonks crossing over into the shoe game and other collectibles, but for a while, people might part with them cheaper, I thought. It's only come down in price ridiculously so. I have a couple of these myself. I hodled and definitely did lose versus where I could sell them at. So when it comes down to it, like, people can tell you all day, oh, this is the next great thing, all these kinds of things, but it's not always gonna pan out. That's why I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know the future of card prices. I take L's myself all the time when I was vendor man, and even as casual dip in, get my collectibles man. I take L's here and there. I think it's the Gaga Magician is now on clearance and hasn't sold out over on AmiAmi, where I paid the pre-sale price because usually figures go up, but the collectible markets are all churning, changing, and there's a lot of downward motion in several sectors, including Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's also that Blue Eyes fatigue, probably some Dark Magician fatigue. Will they ever get tired of Dark Magician Girl, though? The Charizard of Yu-Gi-Oh! As I call it. Who knows? Maybe they can actually do that with DMG, but I actually kind of doubt it, depending on how nice they make her. But when it comes down to it, when you're trying to bury money into cards, it's speculative at best, and you are gambling no matter what point you think you found a place in. Like I heard people discussing, hey, actually this might be good at this price. It could also just go down towards 80 before it ever finds a way up. And then how long will it take to get that attention and traction? Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. I always love going into the discussions on market theory too with the cards because, again, I'm not always right, but it's interesting to discuss where it's going to go and why and the maybes and the hows and then see what happens. It's been a crazy weekend too. I actually did my first ever Pokemon Go tour, the Sinnoh tour, and I had a lot of fun. First hundo legendaries, I got the Dialga. I'm doing this at the end. See, get to the cards. We got to the cards. But I've been having a lot of fun with Pokemon Go, and I want to say that and Master Duel versus the TCG and the prices are just so much more alluring to me right now. I love physical cards, physical gameplay, and I think I'm going to be doing past formats. If I do go to the WCQ, I'll probably do past format side events because I just have so little interest in the fire deck, and I'm not trying to scramble and scrounge for these overexpensive rogue decks to beat them. So I think there's a lot of different places where my interests lie, but then other people's do, because you see the past format prices start to skyrocket on nicer versions, while there's easy access versions that are still very cheap for those decks. So I feel like with the collectible sides of things too, the newer just seems to get outperformed overall by the older, and the true nostalgia there, no matter how nice you make the new thing, unless it's Dark Magician Girl.